First Lawrence Bank invites you to experience banking at its best. Whether you have personal or business needs, we're a full-service bank big enough to handle all of your banking needs and small enough to provide you with that personal touch you've grown to expect from a community bank like First Lawrence Bank. Looking forward to your future? That's First Lawrence Bank in Dublin and Dexter, member FDIC.
And there, likewise, the Board of Directors, the advisors, and the staff of the Georgia Department of Economic Development, please consider this a great pleasure and honor to have our quarterly meeting here in Dublin, Georgia. You can see by this diverse group of attendees from the 17 counties and development authorities represented here, we care about the future, well-being, and economic growth for middle South Central Georgia. Let's just say we're south of the fall line, but well within the net line. I think you can appreciate that if you come here in July and August. Being the #1 state by national recognition to do business for the last 6 years in a row, I think speaks very well of Governor Deal and the administration that he assembled, including this hard-working, dedicated economic development team, whether it be local, state, regional, or of international endeavors. They work hard. And on the other hand, this should be a joint effort for us to agree on what our goals should be in planning for future economic prosperity and the well-being of the state of Georgia. Oh, a lifelong old saying I'm sure a number of you remember well. To play the game, you got to have skin in the game. It helps and always has. Education, my early days of childhood was on a 2-horse farm with Pet and Daisy pulling the plow. Not very technical. Today, that same skill will not operate an $800,000 cotton picker. Agriculture is still the #1 industry in Georgia, and particularly our region. Future education needs must be scrutinized and adapted to our economic needs for us to compete nationally and worldwide. I'll make a comment on 2 possibilities there from the ag side. Georgia grown has real economic future benefits. On the other side of the equation, tariffs could also possibly impact the return of small businesses that have been lost over the years to other countries. And I think if you look at the TV, you can get 10 opinions on tariff, pro, con, and 8 of them will be a different answer. So I don't think we know what that full situation and impact is at the moment. But we got to prosper better here in this section of the country. Carrying it a step further, let me further say our education system years ago was to be founded on the saying, no child left behind. Future policies should be that all kids should be in the school, that be mandatory, if it even takes a parental secured controlled environment. There are a lot of pros and cons there, but we got to get them back in the school. And I say that to say, it looks to me like it's cheaper to pay $10,000 to $12,000 to educate them versus $10,000 in incarcerating them. You know, each child has his own given talent. It's time we capitalize on it. And I say this to make sure we understand our educated workforce must be upgraded as we move forward to what industry is required, regardless of the field. Carry you a step further, we are rural communities that everyone likes to come for relaxation and get away from the great urban hustle. We see them regular, much more so than we did even 10 years ago. Future discussion as to how to capitalize on it is in all our best interest in Central Georgia. In closing, let me say you have an opportunity. Taking a minute and circle downtown given the option. The Dublin Downtown Development Authority, through a public-private partnership and capitalizing on tax incentives, has helped refurbish old facilities which increased the tax roll, and now having downtown living areas with traffic jams for many nights of the week. As you might not know, we also have the largest movie screen in Georgia right here in Dublin. And at the moment, the Carnegie Library downtown has the German Christkind market that would be very educational and interested to see why you're here. At this time, in closing, I would like to give a special thanks to Bear Crumpton and Miranda Peterson of the Local Development Authority, and Gina McKinney and Ryan Walter at the State Board in coordinating, help put this meeting together.
We welcome you to Dublin, Lawrence County, the heart of the business community of Georgia, the heart of Georgia. We welcome you here. We have received a number of accolades over the past few years. One that's significant to all of us is in 2016, the Atlanta Business Chronicle proclaimed us the International Business Community of the Year. I know that's something you don't think of when you're writing in Dublin, but we are. We have 6 international businesses and a host of local businesses that do well here. And the greatest accolade we as members of the Development Authority receive are finding good, high-paying, skilled jobs for our citizens. That's why we're in this business, and that's why you're here, and we applaud you for what you do every day in the state of Georgia to make this a great place to do business.
When it comes to commercial properties, Century 21 Durden Carnegie has you covered. If you're looking for commercial property, have a look at this property at 1908 Bellevue Road in Dublin, listed at $125. This property has over 1,600 square feet, is located in the city of Dublin, and is ready for you to occupy today. So if you're looking for commercial property, see this property at 1908 Bellevue Road in Dublin. Listing agent is Pam Tillery. For commercial property, count on Century 21. See the property at 2626 Moore Station Road, listed at $995. This property has over 5,000 square feet. And listing agent and broker George Durden will be glad to show you this property today. If you're looking for commercial property, call on the professionals at Century 21 Durden Carnegie. The phone number is 272-1535. Log on to c21dublin.com and contact Century 21 Durden Carnegie today about any of these commercial properties. Century 21 Durden Carnegie, broker George Durden.
Let me start off by saying this. The other day, I was in Sunday school, and the teacher said, we're going to do an exercise, and he said, I want you to take a piece of paper or a pad and write down all the things, being Thanksgiving, write down all the things you're thankful for. So we started writing, right? You know, and the more we thought, the more we wrote. And we got down to about 40 things. And I was like, God, he said, stop, everybody stop. And so we said, okay, what do we do now? He said, no, that's the point. That's the whole point. You don't think about all the things you should be thankful for until you start thinking about it, and when you start writing it down, it's a long list. And I said, okay, I thought to myself, okay, what's the point beyond this? And he said, you know, look at the world, look at the state, look at the turmoil that we all think about and talk about in our communities, and so on. And so his point was, keep perspective, don't get discouraged because there's so many things that we have to be thankful for. Don't lose sight of that. Communities, we have 159 counties in Georgia, and you know, something like 80% of our counties have less than 35,000 people in them. It's geographically a very rural state, right? We're always talking about what can we do as a community, what can we do to do what Roger just said, development authority in every county. Can we do our jobs as development authorities? And so Some do it very well. Dublin, Georgia does it very well. They're very well located. They've planned ahead. They've been proactive and aggressive. They've got good leadership, and this isn't an overnight thing. They've been working at this for decades. And Ms. Wood Hawk is back there. I see you do it up here too. A long time ago, when you and I were much younger, Willie, you bailed me out. I had a project that had picked a site and it fell apart. And the CEO of the company said, I need to have an answer for where I'm going to put this distribution center by the end of next week when my board meets. And he looked at me. And I said, hold on a minute, let me go make a phone call. Because I knew what the requirement was, and I called Willie and I said, can you put this together in a week? I can't believe you could do that. And she said, oh, of course we can. So Fred's distribution center is out here on Highway 257 right now because they were prepared. The Department of Economic Development knew they were prepared, and they did. The point is, if you look at Dublin and what they've done, they showed me a list of the properties the Development Authority owns. They got so many options for people to look at, it's really amazing. And I'm not suggesting that everybody in this room can do that for their community, or is able to do it. I know there are communities who can't afford to do that kind of thing. But if you plan ahead and make this a process you go through, you can get there, right, Willie? After all this time, you can get there. So don't get discouraged. We've got a lot to be thankful for. I know Dublin does. The Department of Economic Development has a great team of people. I think I saw Tom come in, Tom Croto came in. He's got a great group of people in the Global Commerce Division. There are people here with every kind of division in the department. They're great people there. They're working for you really hard. The only thing they want to know from communities is what do you have that we need to know about that we can put in front of somebody who has certain requirements and get them to come look at your community. We just need to know what that is. And I'd say, well, for the most part, communities do pretty well at that, but some do and some don't. Some are up and some are down. But for those of you who are involved in your community, thank you for what you do. And for example, and Tom, I'm glad you're here. I hate to pick on you, but every week we talk about this and talk about projects. Remember, you have to have real estate to put a facility on it, okay? So if you don't have real estate, you kind of like, we're a good community. Well, there are a lot of good communities. So every week we're facing sites that we don't know about maybe, but we're looking for big sites that have rail service, right? We cuss and discuss this every week. So I'm looking at the list in Dublin. Here they are. They've got 300-acre site at the 441 and 257 bypass with all utilities, 1.4 miles from the interstate interchange. They've done, that's just one example. They've done their homework. And it makes it so much easier when you've done your homework. So thank you to Dublin, and I know others in here, not to slight you at all. You've done homework too that makes it easy for the department. So it's a team effort. And they only gave me 5 minutes. I could go on for 2 hours, I'm sorry. But the point is, be thankful for what you have, but the list of things we need to improve on is just as long. And I know we focus on that maybe too often, but for those in this room, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here. We appreciate the board being here. We look forward to further conversation with you today. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, we welcome y'all to Lawrence County. We know you could have been anywhere and you chose to be here, so thank y'all for that. I was asked to welcome y'all, and I was glad to do that. And then Beth Crumpton called me yesterday and said somebody called and wanted my PowerPoint presentation to check it out, and I don't have one. So if you can just imagine that saying welcome, that's my PowerPoint presentation. But no, I got to tell on myself while Mr. Brantley was talking about the compensation with the executive director, I was answering emails, and I heard board member compensation, and when I heard $185,000, I thought, y'all can get Wayne Christian a lot cheaper than that. So, but we do appreciate you, Wayne, and all you do for us. And you're about to hear from our mayor here in Dublin, Phil Best, and we've got awesome representation with Senator Larry Walker and Representative Matt Hatchett. I think Dublin has a great reputation of being able to get it done, and that's because of the members of our Industrial Development Authority, and thank y'all for what y'all do. And we're here, we're ready to work. Y'all give us a call.
Oconee Fall Line Technical College. Think differently about college and apply today.
Have y'all figured out yet why we like to have Charlie as an interim director? He speaks pretty well of Dublin. On behalf of the city council, and I would like for those folks to stand up that are here, Gerald Smith, Jerry Davis, Curtis Edwards, and am I missing someone? We had a few folks that couldn't get there. We want to welcome y'all to Dublin. It's a pleasure to have you here. You know, we've had two other people I do want to mention, Mayor Rusty Paul and Larry Hanson. I have the distinct honor of serving with them on the GMA board, and I appreciate y'all's service to this board as well. Partners. We have strategic partners. They start with the commissioner and this board, and they have been for years. We have them on the local level and the folks that y'all got on the ground here. We have them in your project managers, in your deputy commissioners. We have strategic partnerships with our county commission and with our economic development team here locally. Without those strategic partnerships, none of the things that Charlie told you about would work. Our county commissioners and the city of Dublin, we get along. If we don't, you'll never see it. We have a great opportunity ahead of us. We appreciate what y'all have done. Now, I will tell you this, Willie Paul, when Charlie called her and said, we've got a week to do this, let me tell you what she did. She got on the phone and said, y'all, come on, we got some work to do. But anyway, we got it done, and we appreciate everything that y'all have done for us as a board. Thank you.
Chairman Neely and board and staff and all the local guests, I want to also welcome you to Senate District 20. My name's Larry Walker. I represent Lawrence County in the state Senate, and I couldn't be more proud to represent this community. I lived here in the early 90s, Adrian and I did, and we had to leave by no choice of our own. They didn't run us out, but my business just did not make it, and it was a really sad time to leave. But the way the Lord works, now I get to come back over here often and represent this community that I love. So it's just been a real blessing. I know everybody's already talked about how wonderful Dublin Lawrence is, but I've been privileged to serve on Governor Deal's administrative floor leader team, and I've heard the #1 in the country to do business more times than I can remember. But to me, Dublin Lawrence is the #1 place in the state of Georgia to do business. They have the great leadership, they are unified, and they work as a team, and it's phenomenal to me coming back from the early 90s to see the progress that they've made here, and it's just due to the hard work and leadership of the people in this room. And you know, they were pretty decimated by the textile industry basically leaving the country, but they have fought hard to build back, and it's just been remarkable to see the progress they've made. In the downtown area, I know y'all will get to see it tonight, but it's just amazing. It's the envy of where I'm from. I was chairman of our Downtown Development Authority in Perry, and I just am blown away by what they've done here in Dublin. Also was vice chair of the Houston County Development Authority, and we were always mad because Dublin seemed like they kept getting everything over here that we were working on. But anyway, it's a great team. In the legislature, I've been honored and enjoyed being able to work on some economic development projects for Governor Deal. I helped to extend, enhance, and expand the film tax credit program to include video gaming production, and that was fun. A bill I worked on, this wasn't the governor's bill, but with Representative Jason Shaw, was the Rural Georgia Development Act, which incentivized through tax credits a $100 million loan fund to be invested in rural communities to either grow existing businesses or start new businesses, and is for counties under 50,000 in population, so Lawrence County would qualify for that. I passed a bill to eliminate the corporate net worth tax on businesses with a net worth of $100,000 or less, which I think is a good incentive for small businesses, just kind of take away a little bit of aggravating thing they had to do. Of course, this past session, we were able to lower the state income tax, and we intend to lower it again in the coming session. I think one reason we've been so successful in Georgia with our economic development is we have a low tax burden relative to other states. So that's always something we're looking at. But it's a real pleasure to serve you all, and I'm honored to be here with you today, and thank you for all y'all do for our state.
But I asked Wayne Christian what I needed to do. He said, just introduce a few people. Well, I'm going to introduce more than a few. Is that all right? Okay. First off, I want to thank Larry Walker for being such a team player with me. Larry he's getting promoted, as I was, out of the governor's floor leader office into leadership with the Senate caucus. So congratulations, Mr. Chairman. Second, he just thinks he's moving up. Second, we have y'all all know Bubba Epps, and Bubba's been an integral part of our delegation and a big friend of Lawrence County, and Bubba's retiring. But Bubba has a replacement, a very fine gentleman from Bleckley County and Cochran, Representative-elect Danny Mathis. Danny, stand up and wave to everybody. We look forward to working with Danny too. It's going to be a great year. I want to say a few things to the board. Recently, I was very fortunate to be asked to go on an economic development mission with many of your executives and some other people to Japan. And I want to tell you, you think they have all this fun when they go on these missions. But we flew in, and the next morning, first thing, we're getting on a flight going somewhere else in Japan, spend all day, and we come back. The next morning we get up, we're on a train, bullet train going somewhere, and we think, God, we're going to get home. So then we get back. The next day we start a convention. And I want to tell you, just so you know, we had a reception, and I bet there were 200 representatives from Japanese businesses in the room. And your senior executives probably shook hands with almost everybody in the room if they didn't. I made it to maybe a fourth of them, but they talked to all of them. So they're working for you real hard, even when they're not here in Georgia, and they're out talking about all the good things in Georgia. So I want to make sure you know they are working when they're not on native soil. And I want to say a little bit more about what's already been said by Phil and others about the team we've got here in Lawrence County. And it's taken for granted by many in this room, but it's real, because not every community in this state can say that. And I want to get everybody from the Development Authority to stand up. Stand up. City council members, stand up. County commissioners, stand up. And I think we've even gotten some from other cities in the county. Lawrence County, we've got East Dublin council member. Without these people, what we've had and the progress we've had in this county would not be happening, and thank you very much. thank you again for being here. We look forward to this afternoon and in the morning, the tours you're gonna have, but thank you for being in Dublin, Lawrence County, and we look forward to working with you even more. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chuck Harwell from Community Bank, and I would like to remind you that we're here to help you with all your financial needs. We can help you with loans for almost everything from getting married, buying your first car, getting ready for a new baby, buying a house, or going to college. You see, we're the bank that lives up to our name, Community Bank of Dublin, Lawrence County. We're Community Bank of Dublin, Lawrence County, where common sense banking never goes out of style.
Welcome to Dublin, Lawrence County. I'm Marcia Dixon, and I am General Manager of Flexsteel Industries. For those of you who have not seen our plant, we're actually located on Industrial Boulevard. To give you an idea how we came here, our corporate headquarters is in Dubuque, Iowa. We were looking for a plant to open up in the southeast part of the United States, and luckily the old Unaroyal building was empty, had been empty for a couple of years. So the company plane flew in, got off, and as a matter of fact was welcomed by Willie Paulk back there. And the site was perfect for what we were looking for. It was in the southeast part of the United States, which is what we needed. The climate was great, the culture was great, the people were wonderful. It was just everything you wanted to check off was just there. So we opened the plant in 1983, and first of all, the labor force was very attractive for many, many reasons. Plenty of skilled, motivated, as we say, country people that really worked hard, and it was just perfect for us to move and open up this plant. So open it up in 83, and we actually this year, just to tell you a little bit about Flexsteel, we celebrated our 125th year in business. So we're a very old company, been making upholstered furniture for a long, long time. Just to give you an idea about our plant, we have 320 employees in Dublin. We actually at one time had 440, but that was before China. China got into the upholstered business just like a lot of other fields, and so that impacted our business, but we're at 320 employees and we're very proud to be there. We have 5 manufacturing plants throughout the United States, 4 distribution centers, and I have to say that we're the largest plant in the United States, so we're very proud to talk about that. And with our production, we tried to stay on top of everything. We have CNC cutters for fabric and leather and frames, but I have to tell you, we still sew and we still upholster, and if anybody has ever seen a piece of furniture being built, it is truly a skill to build a piece of upholstered furniture. Look at your sofa when you go home. It took a lot of work and sweat and tears to make that piece of furniture, but we're very proud of it. Just to give you a little bit more information, I have actually been with Flexsteel for 34 years. And during that time, I have seen a lot of change in the industry. I actually came back here in '76, graduated from college, and I'm one of those that came back home. Went to work with a company that later was called Allen Bradley. Many of you know where that is, where that building is still located, and also worked with New Holland when they first came here and started up their operation. So those are the 3 main companies that I've worked with. But I got to tell you, as a community, and for the number of years I've been here, we've never been faced with the challenges that we're being faced with right now today in our community, and I'm talking about as an industrial community, and let me go a little bit farther. Let's just talk about, maybe you won the lottery. What was the big one? $1.3 billion, I think. Wasn't that the big one? Let's just say you had won the lottery. And when you win the lottery, you kind of think you've got a piece of heaven. I mean, how wonderful it is, all the money you could ever want. But then when reality sets in, there's some things that happen with that. As a matter of fact, the first thing you have is IRS on your back. They come first. And then after that, of course, you have many demands, family, relatives you've never heard of, organizations wanting money. It's just, one headache after another. So, the reality's here, so you kind of have to say, well, what are we going to do here? Well, let me tell you, as a community, we have hit the lottery. We have so many new businesses, existing industries, properties that are available It's wonderful. You talked about it. It's great. We have all those pluses. But let me tell you what we do have also. We have a shortage of labor. And that is something that we really need to address, not only as a community, as a state, and as a country. So it's not anything that's unique just to Dublin. It's everywhere. Just to kind of give you an idea about our particular recruiting area, we actually recruit from about 9 counties that are right around our area. So we have a good solid base. And with that recruiting, I want to go on record of saying one thing that I think is very important. Our local development authority has done an outstanding job of recruiting different companies with different skills so that we have a diversified group of employment base that we have in our community. So that is perfect. That is so good. But as a community and as an industrial base, we communicate a lot. And we're all dealing with some of the same issues as far as trying to get labor into our community. And let me just say this, for those of you who know me and those who don't know me, I'm one of the biggest cheerleaders for Dublin-Lawrence County. I mean, I love this place. I love this community. I will work every day I can to make it the best place it can be. And I think that's important that we understand that. In talking about companies, you know, we basically, through the years, pretty much did not have to hire out from under each other or hire other employees. But out of desperation now, in many cases, we're having to hire other companies' employees because, you know what, we all have a financial statement, we all have needs, we have obligations to keep our doors open, and that is something very important. My company, the company that I work for right now, is considering putting a distribution center in the southeast portion of the United States. We have one pretty much everywhere except the southeast. So if we put one in the southeast, then that certainly would kind of fill the puzzle of meeting all the needs from a distribution center standpoint. But with that being said, there is a concern if we're having trouble hiring employees right now, how are we going to hire them if we add another facility here? So that is a concern about adding more businesses to our community. At a recent meeting in Albany, there was a study that was done. It was actually in the northwest part of the state. And they went into manufacturing sites, and basically of the people that they surveyed, of the parents who are working at manufacturing sites, 70% of those parents said they were discouraging their children from going into the manufacturing side of the business. Now, what does that do for all of us in here when we have companies, we have manufacturing, we have industries, we want to recruit more to join, and we are not getting the base from the young adults that are coming out of school that want to go into manufacturing. Just to give you an idea, during the last 12 months of the employees that we have hired, we have been able to maintain 60% of those employees. 60%. That is after reference checks, after pre-employment drug screening, and also after a background check. 60%. That's something to think about. A recent comment that was made from one of our community industrial leaders is that when someone retires or leaves, the problem is we cannot replace them with that same talent and skill level. Because you think about, technology, the companies, what we need. We're very concerned about how we're going to be able to meet those needs. I have to say that we have worked very closely with the Career College and the Career Academy, who certainly is basically partnered with both the city and the county schools, been very active, who also is partnered with the technical college here. Again, trying to reach out, come up with new ideas, new ways that we can, somehow or another reach out to these young people and basically make them want to work and realize the importance of a good job and the skill level that's required. We work very closely with the Department of Labor. We've hired through the Great Promise Partnership, which is through the city here. Again, trying to open new avenues and new doors. We've had a lot of job fairs in this area. Again, just trying to reach out to people that maybe are not in the workforce, that have moved in. You know, how can we tap them and get them interested in coming to work? The availability of employees having the work ethic, the skill level, the commitment and dedication is what we all need. Now, I know that if I had an answer to that, I would be a very happy person, would be a very wealthy person, not in money, but in a feeling inside that I was able to solve a problem for our community. But it is a problem, and again, it's a problem everywhere across the country. But in our particular situation, we do have a lot of new jobs that have been created along with existing jobs. So how do we solve it? What has changed? Why has it changed? And I think we all would agree if we just sat down, you know, a lot of it is the fact that society has changed. It has changed. It's not like it was years ago. But we've got to adjust with that and somehow or another get these young adults into a working environment, wanting to work, willing to work with the skill level that we need. You know, I think it starts with the family. We can talk about it all we want to, but it starts with the family, the parents, and then, of course, you're obviously going to have to get the schools involved, which play a very big role in it, our church, our community, our leaders, and even those with authority have to get involved and make a difference so that we can encourage these young people to get back in school. There's a lot of issues that need to be addressed, but I think one of them that is important, again, as a community, we are so fortunate. We've won the lottery with the help of a lot of hardworking people bringing jobs here, which are very much appreciated because it makes it a progressive community. It has a lot to offer, but we've got to somehow tap and get the young people into the situation where they want to come to work and work for our companies and stay there. Longevity. Turnover is a problem. It really is. And I think we all agree, if we don't address the problem, if we don't solve the problem and improve the problem, I think we all know what's going to happen. The lottery is not going to be here. The opposite thing is going to happen because companies have got to be able to meet the demands, keep their doors open, and the way they do that is have productive employees so that they can continue to be profitable. So thank you very much to everybody who has made our community the place it is, which is wonderful. This is a challenge for all of us to work together, and I certainly think that we can do it. So thank you very much.
At Optum Healthcare, we know you're not yourself when even one part of yourself is hurt. Because in orthopedics, everything is connected. Bones, joints, ligaments, and cartilage. At Optum Healthcare, we're connected too. An orthopedic specialist like Dr. Patrick Hansen in Dublin covers every bone in your body. Dr. Hansen will work together with you to get you back to being you. Optum Healthcare at the corner of Moore Station Road and Industrial Boulevard. Optum Healthcare, Dublin.
Just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, we're Mayor Best, and I thought it was really cute because I thought, oh, the best mayor. Mayor Best said he has strategic partners, and what I'm hoping is that after today that you do realize that Weyerhaeuser is a strategic partner. So we're odd. You know, I know that most of the time when you are working with a landowner, you're usually coming in and going, you know, Mr. Landowner, you have some nice property here. We'd like to have it as a development site, and you purchase that from the landowner, and then you invest in it, and then you market it. That's what we do. So we help those communities with having some strategic sites that are ready, and they've been invested in. And so in that aspect, it gives you an opportunity. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of how we market the site that we have here in Dublin, Georgia. We call it the Heart of Georgia Mega Site. It's a 2,000-acre site that's been certified by both McCollum Sweeney and the state. So as you know, there's quite a bit of due diligence that goes into that. In order to get these sites ready, I'll be honest, we invest somewhere between, depending on the land regulation of a particular area, anywhere from $4 to $7 million just to get the site ready. That's before marketing. So it gives you an idea of some of the things that we do. We are the largest private landowner in the world. It's kind of fun to say. In 2016, I came from the Plum Creek side, and Weyerhaeuser was the other landowner, and we would trade off between number 1 and number 2, depending on who bought and sold the most land that year. And in 2016, we merged. So we now have 12.14 million acres in 20 states, and then we also manage 14 million acres in Canada. We did have some land in Uruguay, but we sold that. Here in Georgia, we're the largest private landowner. We're a little under 800,000 acres. So obviously, now what we're going to do is talk a little bit more about this site. So what we'll do is we're going to actually sell the state first. You know, a preferred location. Why Georgia? And then why the mega region of Atlanta to Macon to Savannah? Why Dublin, Lawrence County? And then why our site? Obviously, it's just great. We're right here in the heart of the Southeastern Industrial Hub manufacturing area, which is great. You're midway between Savannah and Atlanta and Macon, and I know there was a couple comments that urban is starting to come this way. This is going to be a strategic location. Plus, you've had this community here that's been so active for decades, and they really understand economic development. And we've got prime frontage on I-16, actually with an exit ramp right there. So we own 3 of the 4 corners of that exit ramp, exit 58. And you've got direct connection to I-75 and I-95, which is really strategic, and that's why you see a lot of distribution centers in this area as well. It is 2,000 acres, it's shovel-ready, which means we've done all the due diligence, and according to the certifications, it means we have the plans in place to be able to deliver the services or have services delivered within a 12-month time period. And that is because we have good partners like the City of Dublin and East Dublin and Lawrence County and the Development Authority. They are the reason why we got those certifications, because they are the strategic partners in helping to make sure that those utilities and those roads would be delivered, as well as the state. So we're all on the hook, which is great. So we have the 3 certifications. It's zoned for 17 million square feet. So what does that provide the area? It provides not only the state an opportunity to compete for some of the big projects that come along, but it also helps this area because if Flex Steel, if you all want to grow, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay here. And if you can't find a site big enough for your next facility, we've got 2,000 acres that can make sure you stay here. So obviously you've got the transportation. This is one of the things that we look for. We don't just move any piece of property forward. When we move a piece of property forward, it has to have utilities nearby. In a case of an industrial site, it needs to have transmission lines. I'm one of those crazy ladies that happens to think a 500 kV transmission line is really cool. And I'm looking for a rail. And where's that rail line going? And is there a port nearby? And of course, you know, here in Georgia, you've got a lovely couple of international airports that help out, and you've got ports of Savannah and Brunswick. Plus, in this area, you can hit Charleston, and you can hit Jacksport. You can also hit all of the 14 deep water ports in Florida if you wanted to. With the workforce, I know we've got about, within a 60-mile radius, 440,000. I hear what you're saying about workforce. Yes, that's happening everywhere. I think one of the great things that you have here is that you've got a business climate, and then you've got proximity to education and training. And I think one of the things that we encourage the companies that we start to bring to our sites is, what can you do in advance in order to start your training program so that you can guarantee that you're going to have that in place? And of course, when you're here in Georgia, you've got the #1 training program in the United States. It gets recognized time and again with Quick Start. And that, of course, when you have got Oconee Fall Line Technical College here, one of the things the Development Authority said that many times they've come in and they've created programs for the companies that are here. So that's one of the assets that's here. We're nearby to Mercer, within 50 miles of Mercer. You've got Middle Georgia University, and then you've also got Georgia Military Institute that's here as well. But that Oconee Fall Line Technical College, that's a tremendous asset to have in your community. These is just to give you an idea. We've heard that this area is an international community. This is some of the international businesses that the Dublin's Lawrence County Development Authority has actually welcomed here. And I saw it firsthand today. It was great. I got here a little early. I went for lunch. I went to the supply company downtown. It's really good, really cute place. And in there, I saw folks from YKK. There was just lots of business folks, lots of ethnicity. I mean, it was really exciting. And you're in this quaint little Georgia town, and you're like, I feel like I'm in an urban area like New York City in that aspect, you know, so there's definitely a welcoming culture. Here's our site. It's just a little further to the east from here. It's a big, beautiful site. This is just an illustration of what the zoning could accommodate, so that gives you an idea of this, what 17 million square feet could look like over the lifetime of that site. We're talking about partnerships. I need to get the City of East Dublin's logo. That's the one logo I'm missing. Because that's really strategic and important to us, because we are actually part of the economic development team. In some of the rural communities that we are in, they don't have a sophisticated economic development agency, and we become that agency for them. We'll help them out. Because really, in the long run, we just want to see the site benefit the community. This gives you a little bit of idea of what we're doing to market the site right now. So we are marketing the state, we're marketing the region, we're marketing the community, as well as we're marketing our site. On our team, in addition to what Weyerhaeuser is doing, we have Vision First. Some of you might know Grace Swope, former Secretary of Commerce for Florida and for Mississippi. So when he stepped out of public service and started his firm, we were his first client. So Grace, phenomenal, and his team's phenomenal, helps us out. Jones Lang LaSalle out of Atlanta, there's a lot of pressure on them to start selling. So we're hoping that they can attract some nice opportunities here. We obviously work with construction companies that sometimes they bring along a partner. You know, you might meet a firm like Edwards Construction might be doing work for Publix. And next thing you know, Publix goes to them and says, hey, we want to put a distribution center in the state of Georgia, where could we go? So we're marketing to them. We're also marketing to site selectors, corporate real estate leaders, and then we work with, obviously, the Development Authority and the state. So we're all working together. The site's been noticed quite a bit. We've been runner-up a lot. We're kissing a lot of frogs. We're hoping not to be runner-up. So we were a finalist for Volvo. We were a finalist for Caterpillar. Thankfully, that landed in Athens. Volvo landed on our property in South Carolina. We thought for sure that the Georgia site was going to beat out. It was higher and drier than the South Carolina site, but we learned a lesson. GT Tire, Century Tire, thankfully that stayed, I think went to LaGrange, correct? And then we've got a current one that came to us. So we had to feel them out first, because we don't want to bring something that's actually going to fall apart. So after taking a look at it, we danced around with them for about a month, and we felt like, okay, we could actually see that they had an investor that was worthy. They had off-take customer, and they had some partners on the logistics commodity side. We're like, okay, this company's kind of real. So we brought them to the state, and we're going to be meeting in a couple weeks and actually start that whole process of them becoming a competitive project in the state. They're looking at 2 sites in Georgia, and a site in Mississippi, a site in Texas, and I think a site in South Carolina as well. So sometimes they'll come to us first, and we'll get a chance to flush them out a little bit, make sure they're real, and then we'll bring them to the state and go, okay, it's time to put them through the process. So it wouldn't be too bad. 300 acres, it's a $200 million capital investment, 100 permanent employees. The salary is a decent salary, $20 an hour, all the way up to $40 an hour with benefits and a 401k. So those are the types of companies that we like to, you know, advance through a process and bring to a community. So we do a Google Earth video. It's usually the easiest way to be able to show somebody what the great area is and all the assets, and then the site. Port of Savannah is really spiffy. Every time I go there, I go, oh, can I get a tour? It's just spiffy. There's that beautiful power line. 45 kV, 115 kV, 2 substations one on the east and one on the west. I mean, that just sings. If you need power, Georgia Power is right there. And those are actually the plans in order to have you serve it from the extension of services so they get a chance to see it, that it's not fake, that we actually have a plan in place. If you ever go to our website, it's called heartofgeorgiamegasite.com. Everything is on there, all our maps, all our site plans, all the contact information. So it has my contact, it has Charlie's, it has Beth's, it has our broker. I mean, it's got everybody's, it connects to all the strategic partners. And so if you ever need any information, you're more than welcome to look there, download it, or give me a call. Thank you.